So, some of the recent trends, distributors entering the content production business. So not only delivering content, but actually producing it. Netflix moving into television show distribution in addition to movies. Online viewing begins to challenge TV, cable, and DVD rentals. So you'll see more and more of the cable companies and TV companies putting their shows on online through a variety of channels, either direct through their websites or through things like Netflix and Premium Hulu. On the other side of online publishing, e-book sales are rising tremendously to 50% of all book sales. Digital music up, surpassing physical DVDs, etc. And console games begin to stagnate as online games, multi-user games, social games, and casual games begin to take over and take a huge piece of the market. Additionally, Apple, Google, Amazon, and Facebook are really battling it out in a variety of areas, but also on the online content ecosystem, in addition to social and mobile. Amazon's ebook reader, Kindle, expands to become a tablet. The Nook expands from Barnes & Noble into becoming a tablet, and quite a bit of competition from Apple iPad, the leader in that tablet market, plus also the new Microsoft offering. Tablet sales grow. It's becoming much more of a visual and mobile marketplace. 50% of PC sales. Content is being consumed like crazy over mobile devices, and cloud storage really serving the mobile community. All right, average American adult spends 4,200 hours per year consuming various types of media. That's amazing. Revenues in media, almost $500 billion in 2012. And over 3/4 of the hour spent consuming media on TV, radio, and the internet. So 2.8 hours a day on the internet. Consumers consume media, and there really hasn't been a downfall in or reduction in TV viewing due to internet usage. Okay, so here's where media consumption lies. Television with internet, a close second, really dwarfing everything else, with mobile coming up real strong right behind radio. Books, newspapers, video games, magazines, much lower than all the rest. So, is there cannibalization, or are they complementary? Does internet reduce the time spent on other media, or does it actually help books, newspapers, magazines, phone, and radio? Internet users spend relatively less time with traditional media, but they consume more of many types, all types, than non-internet users, and they often multitask. So they might be on their smartphone while watching television, flipping through a book, keyboarding on their laptop, or swiping on their tablet. Multimedia reduces the cannibalization impact because for some visual media, you do need to go to multiple channels. So that's an important distinction. Revenues still very high from the media space on television and magazine generating the most, but internet media is growing. Movies, box office are still part of it. Newspapers, interestingly enough, are still generating a big generator, number 3. So digital content is delivered through a variety of different revenue models and delivery models. It can be subscription. It can be ad-supported, where it's either free or freemium. Again, given away free for certain levels of content and media, but when you want to ratchet it up to get the higher quality or more feature-rich or exclusive content, you have to pay a premium, thus freemium. Free content can be used to drive users to pay content. That's absolutely true, and that's exactly what the free to freemium model is. Users increasingly paying for high quality, unique content, so there's a propensity to buy. While many years on internet content, it was really about free content and why pay for something. You look at the New York Times, started with a paywall model years ago. They had to give it up because most consumers weren't ready for that and weren't willing to pay for it. They gave it up for a good number of years, but now they've just recently come back, and people that want that high quality New York Times content in multiple forms now have to pay for it. But they're doing a very interesting combination. Like if you buy their newspaper and have that delivered to your house, you can still get a number of their digital services for free. So online content consumption in the recent year, 2012, newspapers are being consumed. So news, while people are potentially reading less print news and print news empires are being decimated, their online portions of their business are being read well, because that's the disruptive model, and that's the more preferred media channel choice for news and information. So that's a logical market for newspapers to get into. Online radio is increasing, as is online television show. Casual games, very, very big. Music downloads, etc. So free or for a fee. In the early years, again, as I mentioned, expected free content, but they were willing to accept advertising. It was pretty much low quality, pretty generic, commoditized content. All right, now that there's more high quality content, fee models are becoming successful, led by iTunes and Apple. 80 million buy from legal music sites. You have these free or illegal music sites, but there's a lot of challenges there in terms of viruses and bad downloads. So YouTube is beginning to cooperate with Hollywood production studios, as is Hulu. So you'll see these large streaming, public-oriented streaming companies like YouTube, like Hulu, cooperating with Hollywood and television studios. Digital rights management is a big area where the technical and legal protections for digital content, from unlimited and easy to do reproduction and distribution, often thrown up as a moral. Should you be taking content and burning it, and, not paying for it? Because the technology is there, does that mean you should copy it? So these are moral ideas and challenges as much as legal and technological issues. The challenge is that the technology is not there to protect all of the digital content, because that needs to be balanced against ease of use and accessibility. So interesting dilemmas. Telecom and device industries obviously get benefit from more traffic and their infrastructure being utilized. But an interesting fact, 23% of global internet traffic is trafficking stolen material that's over the internet. Classic media industry structure. The three top segments are print, movies, and music. They are separate. They're pretty much dominated by a few key players, so kind of oligopolistic and monopolistic, if you will, with little crossover. If you're the king of print, you're not the king of movies, and very rarely you might see a little overplay with movies and music, but usually the music leaders like Viacom are dominant over 20th Century Fox or Lucasfilms versus print media moguls like the New York Times. Larger media ecosystems are evolving by entrepreneurs and individuals putting together channels on blogs and YouTube, and independent music bands publishing directly and selling directly, streaming to their consumers. So the convergence of technologies, especially in hybrid devices like smartphones and tablets, combining the power of computing, web interfaces, music, and video playback, rich user experiences, converging into devices that are handheld, lap-held devices. So content is also converging as well as technology, from the aspects of designing content, producing it, and then distributing it. And with the ability for smaller entities, startups, to actually utilize, reasonably priced tools such as Final Cut for the Apple world, or Adobe Creative Suite, and the Premiere editing tools. Small startups and independent music bands, like you mentioned, independent filmmakers, can design, produce, and then distribute their content directly to consumers and run it on their own channels. So very, very interesting times. The convergence of media companies and consolidation, mergers, and also the ability to create and cross-market content on different platforms: web, television, tablets, smartphones. Here's a graphic that's an example of showing the convergence and transformation of book contents over the last 17 years or so. In the old days, publishers published brochures on the web. It was Web 1.0 in 1995. Then began to integrate media through the use of new file formats for web display, like PDF. So they were reformatting content made for print or brochures. The Web 1.0 in 95 was basically taking your print content, just putting it on the web, doing no real repurposing. Then repurposing it in 1998 for the PDF movement for web displays. And then again in 2005, a new transition with interactive ebooks that were sold as complements. So a textbook like your Loudon textbook is also available now as a web ebook that has hyperlinks linking to all the links that are described in websites and case studies that are described in the textbook. So there's a transformation and repackaging of the media. Now as the media, new media is maturing and being redesigned, the book, again, seamlessly integrating web and text components on mobile devices, tablet devices. So first, having these books available on websites, now onto mobile and iPad devices. So how do you profit from online content? The studies show that upwards of 25% of users will pay for some content, but it has to be specialized content. And typically what's required is it's got to be for very specialized, focused market content. You pretty much have to have a wrap and a monopoly, be the sole source provider of that content, and there has to be a high perceived net value through a variety of customer requirements. Hard to find data, the fact that it is available, readily available on the internet is one thing, but if it's also exclusive, that's a big component of it.